Welcome back, everybody, to Unconditional Surrender, the me, myself, and I playthrough of the main event scenario. Game is published by GMT Games, signed by Salvatore Vasta. We're getting ready to go into March of 1945. So we only have like 5 turns left for the Allies and Soviets to conquer Germany, and they have been having their problems trying to break through. First thing we need to do is the weather phase. This is the beginning of one of those pairs of turns where whatever we get in March, we can't have in April. So we start off with the cold zone. Roll a 4 in the cold zone on April, which is right here. It's a severe. And then we roll for the mild zone. And it is a 4, which is also severe. Yuck. And then we have the warm zone, which is a 6, which is also severe. So very, very nasty weather here in March of 1945. Okay, so we are on to the next phase. Nobody's going to declaration war. Economies. Soviets are still at 58. British are still at 38. The Germans, just to kind of give you an idea of how the strategic warfare is happening, they're at 9 lost factories, so 12 minus 9 leaves 3. And then they get to add their 8 reformed ones. They have 11 totals. They're at 22. So they lose very many more factories. They'll be living on their economic reforms only, which will be like 16 to 19. I think in April they get another one, so they'll go up to 18 total from their economic reforms. So there's a quick look at that. Nobody's not giving points to my allies as the Germans because I'm going to need all 22 of those points, and I still probably won't be able to stop the Soviets. Okay, so now we have to go to strategic warfare. Soviets are +2 because the Germans have 6 conquered countries. Germans are at 0. They do have a sub, but they're going to take their chances with the Russians and try and mitigate the West and see if they can't keep a gained factory if they get one. So here we go. Germans, hey, they rolled a 6. Russians rolled a 1. +2 is a 3. That's not good. A German 6 to a Russian 3 is a DR. So some things happen. The Soviet factory loss marker goes up by 1, and the German factory loss marker goes down by 1. So that was a late war success. Now, of course, they have to go take on the West. The West starts off at +2 because they have the U.S. in the war, and then they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bombed markers. So they go up to +8, and I'm going to take these bombed markers off. Maybe, if they come off the board. Oh, damn it. That's some heavy bombing. I had 6 bomb markers in that turn. Okay, so I'm +8, and the Germans are 0. The Germans are definitely going to be throwing their submarine. The U.S. could throw an ultra. If they did, they would guarantee that they take away a factory. I'm pretty sure I'm probably not going to see the ultra again since I have so few turns. And I'm wondering if I'm going to need the +1 more than giving them a factory will matter. Oh, boy. You know, because they're a factory ahead because of the Russian front, I'm going to have to throw the ultra marker. So the Germans throw their subs, U.S. throws their ultra, so we're both halved. So the Germans roll a 3 halved to 1.5 runs up to a 2. And the worst that just to show you the math here. The worst that I can get when I'm halved as the Allies at +8 would be a 9 halved to 4.5 rounds up to a 5. Okay, the best the Germans can ever get is a 3. So no matter what we roll, the Germans are going to lose a factory. It's just mathematics. No matter what you do, when you get that high with the pluses with the allies, it's kind of an automatic thing. So I got a 6 plus 8 is a 14, half down to a 7. So the Germans go back up to 9 lost factories. Unfortunately, the British can't go any lower than 1. So. And then we have to roll. The German submarine comes back in 2 turns. 1, 2. So I'll get it back in May. And in the Western Ultra marker, 4 turns. 1, 2, 3, 4. So they'll get it back on the last turn of the game. Huh. Well, if I get that far, I might need it, you know. Okay, that takes care of that. That's strategic warfare. Strategic movement for the Axis. I really don't see one. I mean, I could take an infantry unit and drop it here on 21, 23 to keep any of his fleets from playing games and coming around the corner. Right now, he can only invade from Antwerp, 1, 2. So he could invade like Aalborg or Denmark, and I can't stop him. Like Copenhagen. Could even go into Oslo if he wanted. I really need to get to Malmo to make a difference in strategic warfare, and it's like, why would I waste an offensive chit doing that? Yeah, I really don't see one for the Germans. I see nowhere to, even a short, get to the front line one, I don't really see. Because I'm in contact with the enemy almost everywhere. I have to actually, move over land. I suppose I could do one there. I'm really gonna give that up. I'm seriously thinking about giving up Warsaw. Maybe backing up, but it's severe, so I don't really want to do that. So no, none for the Germans. The West. Did I have any silliness? Oh. No, I don't see one for the West. And the Soviets. Do they? Not really. I mean, the things that are at the back are the garrisons anyway. 4 regular infantry and a guards infantry. Everything else is running forward to the German front. Oh, one thing I did have to point out, I mentioned it in the last video, I put up a text thing. When I was going through the editing, I counted up the number of units that I actually activated for the Russians, and I must have miscounted a guards unit as 1 instead of 2, so I had actually spent 24, so I only had 34 left. Wanted to make sure I got my surprise attack marker back, so I took off 1 less plane, which is why this plane is at 6 now, instead of at 4, like you saw it at the end of the last video. So I corrected that because I miscounted with the Russians, and it was more important to make sure that the surprise attack marker is coming back than to have a couple of planes here in what was likely to be poor weather in Russia. I figure I can get this down to 2 sorties by the time the weather clears in May. Of course, we might get lucky and get a clear weather in April, but I'm not counting on it. So I don't see any strategic movement for anybody. So we go into Axis operations, and I am an idiot. I hit a stop button on my timer for some reason, so I might be going over here. I don't know. It's severe weather, right? It's severe weather everywhere. So no bonuses. Everybody's halved. That's bad for the Germans. Because they really wanted to kind of get this 4th Tanks Army. And now they're not going to likely be able to do it. get this guy out of here too. So I'm going to play some musical chair games here, I guess. Activate this. Give me my national tracks over here. So there's one. And he's going to go one. Oh no, he's not going to go there first. This guy's first. He goes 1, 2, 3, and declares an assault here. And then this guy goes 1, 2, 3, and gets back in the hole. Not going to declare an assault with him. I think I'm going to take a chance here. I'm going to spend 2 to activate this. That's 2 I spent for infantry, and then 2 more for this SS Panzer. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Declare an assault here. Oh. Yeah, he's +3, +4, +5. +5 halved. Maybe I get a retreat and be able to pull everybody out next turn. That's the idea here. I really don't need to poo him, do I? Well, we'll go ahead and do that anyway. And then 2, 4. They're all going to assault here. I should get some assault markers since I have people being marked for assault that aren't assaulting immediately. Okay. Now on this one, I'm in a bit of a quandary here. Where's my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I can't get there with the real infantry. 5, 6, 7, 8. He's got to attack there, so guess we'll move this guard, this thing here. Should be another one. Boo. Yes. What do I have in the dead pile here? Oops, not that one. I have 1, 2, 3 infantry. I think I have 4 infantry out there that need to be flipped, so that'd be 7. And then possibly another unit or 2 might be flipped. So call it 9. So I kind of want to sit on at least 9. But I want to get a couple guys off the river so that I can build things back in these cities. So I think we're going to move this guy here. Another one. We're going to move this guy there. And we're going to move this guy here. I don't think I need to move anything in the west. Double check. Did I want to make any attacks? Did want to make an attack. That's 3. I spent 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. 17 from 22 would only leave me with 5. But I'm going to assault all around the table. The reason for all these assaults over here is I'm going to do sort of a wave attack. I'm hoping on the first one to get him down a step. And then on the second one, I will include this armored in the second attack. And if I have him down a step and I can flip him or eliminate him because of a retreat, he would be able to move back a space, and that would kind of hold up the line there. And then this one down here, I'm using the big heavy SS unit to take out the 7th guards, because if I can force it to retreat, and, these aren't guaranteed things because we have in our die rolls, but if I can get that to retreat, then I have the SS unit sitting there, which should allow me to get this armored unit out of the line, and then we can, in April, we can like back up to say the Warta and the Vistula, maybe even as far as the Oder. Leave a few garrisons to slow them down in the horrible weather that we hope to get, and then just back up, get my irretrievable will points out of the line of fire, my regular infantry and stuff. It's time to start throwing some garrisons forward so that we can make some last stands here in our cities with full strength armored and infantry units and stuff. So that's the plan for the Germans. I do have 5 points left. If I really wanted to, I could go after this first French, but it just seems like, I would be 1, 2, 3, 4 minus 2, so I'd be a +2, and he'd be a +2. So +2 to +2, I think those 5 points would be better spent flipping over some infantry and maybe building another 1 or 2. Because I've got like 1, 2, 3. I think I have like 3 or 4 infantry to flip over, and then I can spend 1 or 2 to build some of those infantry that are on the production thing. So, we're there. Let's do the assaults. We're going to do this one in the south first. So, starting off with the SS Panzer. He is +1 because he's elite, +2 because he's German, and no pluses for armor. So he's a +3. And the buddies don't give me +2 for armor because we're in severe, so it's just +1 each. So I'm at +5. And there's no minuses because there's no terrain there. And the Russians are at +1. So it's +5 to a +1. No airplanes matter, no tanks, none of that stuff matters because we're all in severe. So it's just basically roll the dice and have them. It's that having part that bothers me. So the Germans roll. A 3 plus 5 is an 8, rounds down to a 4. And the Russians roll. A 6 plus 1 is 7, that's just halved is 3.5, rounds up to 4. 4 to 4 says, the Russians says, I don't care. I ain't leaving. The 7th Guards is going to stay in this hex and attack you back. So, 7th Guards holds its ground. Not good. Now we're going to go up here. It's the same kind of thing. And I have this infantry, and I activated these guys. I paid for them. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Okay, I miscounted something. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. We started at 22, 17 is 5. Okay, I'm right. I have 5 left. I just didn't highlight those guys. I want to make sure I wasn't miscounting. Because these attacks are kind of important from the Russians' point of view. So this guy starts off, again, he's +2 because he's German, and +1 because he's elite. And then he adds in 1 and 1, so he gets up to a 5. Again, there's nothing there. We're just going to be having our die rolls. The Russians, however, are a +2. +1, or no, they're at a +1 because they're elite, because armor doesn't count. Okay, now what? The Germans could, if they really wanted to, they really want to try and bust this guy out. Do I go ahead and waste it here? What the heck? Let's use it up. We're going to throw our heavy artillery in here to give us a +7 to +1. And of course we're halved. But so that's these 3 guys on the eastern side here are assaulting. +7 to +1. So the Germans are all a 4 +7 is 11, halved 5.5, rounds up to a 6. So I have a 6. And the Russians roll a 2 +1 is a 3, halved 1.5, rounds up to a 2. A 6 to a 2 is a DR. So the Russian 4th Guards Tank Army is flipped. And then we will take off these assault markers, since those are the guys that attacked. And then I have to roll for my heavy artillery. Ooh, it's coming back next turn. Ooh, Germans are they're getting their good die rolls now. Allies had a lot of good die rolls to bust their front and bring them, make up massive amounts of ground. But right now the Germans are doing pretty good. Now we have the armored unit. It's just +2 because he's German. And then he has a buddy. So it's another +1. So it's just a +3. However, the Russians now are a -1 because they're +1 for being elite and -2 for being flipped. So it's a +3 to a -1, and we're halved. And the Germans roll 6 +3 is a 9. Halved to 4.5, rounds up to a 5. And the Russians roll a 6. -1 is a 5. Halved to 2.5, rounds up to a 3. But 6 to a 3, or no, 9, 5 to a 3. 5 was enough to guarantee the elimination of this Guards Tank Army. So, woohoo for the Germans. They killed the Guards Tank Army. Not that the Russians really care. And then the Germans will take it with this Panzer, so that I don't have to worry about his supply anymore. I am leaving kind of an open, wound out here for Warsaw to be taken, but Warsaw's really not that important to me, other than just messes up supply lines a little bit because it's a railhead. But I really don't need it as the Germans, which is why I'm guarding it with a garrison. So that is going to be Axis operations pretty much. I just have to double check, make sure I didn't screw up anything on supply. I think everybody stays in supply, from what I can tell. Didn't really do anything in the east or the west, or in the west or in the med. I'm just sort of holding because it's severe weather. So, it looks like that's it. So that is the beginning of turn in Axis March 1945 operations phase. I'm Dren608. If you like my videos, please subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. And we will return with the Western Operations phase in the next video of this episode. Until then, bye-bye.